Hey guys, welcome to my live stream. Good morning. Welcome to my cactus live stream. Cactus care, sowing out. But I think I will start calling it a plant live stream. I want to do some sowing out over the next years, just stuff for the garden. I decided I want to grow carrots, so I looked up how to sow them out, and I want to get that started in spring, like in March. I saw that they recommended that time for sowing out, and they are sown out outside. So yeah. Hey, welcome to the stream. Great to have you. Thank you for joining and for always being the first. You know, I appreciate it. Yeah. Just talking about, I don't know, enlarging the scope a little. Maybe do more other stuff also. I want to grow carrots for the first time. Like really, I mean, maybe I tried it before, but this time I really want to grow them. So in spring, like in March, I will also prepare a little bed for vegetables. I think they are sown outside, so we don't have to prepare anything inside. But yeah, I wanted to say that it's coming, that I want to do that, you know. Apart from that, I was out clearing areas of the garden, making light. Later today, I will probably film when I scrub the greenhouse. The greenhouse has got this algae layer that I need to get off because it takes away the light. I want to do more I want to do everything I can to get more light now, early in the season. So next 2-3 weeks, every day I'm out just trying to see where I can make a little bit more light around the greenhouses. And yeah, that's what's currently going on. So yeah, yesterday I dropped something, by the way. Check it out. The total nightmare. It happens to everyone, and everyone who experienced it knows how much work it is to once you drop a container with a lot of seedlings. So yeah, this one also fell down, but luckily the soil was so dry that it didn't fall out. But in this case, we need to transplant everything, unfortunately, but it's okay. I brought new soil where we can transplant the seedlings here, because you can't really keep them like this forever. I sometimes do that, you know, you knock over a container full of seedlings, and you don't have time to do it right now, so you put them back in and you want to transplant them, and you forget. So, and since I don't want to do that again, I will do it today. And yeah, I was glad it was just soil like this. Otherwise, the whole house would have been full of pumice. Also, reason why I try to work a little bit more with the organic stuff. Okay, yeah, we will do that today. I brought the seedlings again. A lot of them are outside of the bag now, like just completely normal indoor temperature under the lamp, under a plant lamp. And most of them look great. In 1 or 2 containers, I noticed that we run a little short on water. Need to work harder on that. It's just sometimes you always have containers that dehydrate faster. Sometimes because there are like too many seedlings in one, or something about the soil. Maybe at some point it completely dried out, and that usually kind of brings the soil together. It bricks, and once a soil has bricked, it becomes harder to on a regular basis water it, and the soil still stays somewhat usable. I wanted to show you this. These are like tomatoes, I think, tomatoes or chili. And in case of these, the seed, like the seed corn around it, like the hull, got stuck on top. And at that point I felt like sometimes you can wait. sometimes it will open up, like when the leaves are coming out and spread out. Sometimes it pushes that thing down, but in this case it didn't. I feel like this one seedling here is already lost, and with the other one, today I want to try getting it off. I tried that before, and it instantly like the tip fell off of the whole thing of the seedling. So in this case, I really hope we can save it, because otherwise that is unnecessary. You know, when you already see you have a seedling there, it's germinated, the seed was viable, but then you lose it because that remnant of the seed corn, like that's still stuck on top. That is something that happens to cactus seedlings too, but with them it's not that big of a deal. They are not really that vulnerable compared to this here. You know, like, let me show you. And I brought a little scissor, surgical scissor, and we will try to get that thing removed, but it doesn't look good. It could be that we're already too late. So sowing out, not always easy. But yeah, we will try that later when I have a little bit of calmness in me. My gut feeling is these are beyond saving, and that would be sad. But yeah, it happens. In my opinion, it probably happened because the seed was buried, like wasn't buried deep enough. Should have been a little deeper, and then when they come out of the soil, that stuff is stripped off when they come upwards through the soil. But in this case, it's definitely possible it was too far up. Okay, so let me go through the containers first a little, and I will do health, and then I will do something else like transplanting the seedlings. And I also brought like the takeaway containers where we started sowing out. They were at the heater, and I keep checking on them because I do not want to get to a situation where one container, nothing comes up just because I didn't have enough water in it. You know, they are now at the heater, and at the heater they get the heat that they need. And if I just have half of the humidity that I need, nothing will happen. So I constantly look into them, open them up, try to correct the humidity that's in there, and we want to do that later too. Okay, so in this one, yeah, looking okay, but there's one seedling there that is lying, that is really not looking like it's supposed to look. They should be upwards, you know, like they shouldn't go down with gravity. So I'm not sure what's happened there, but I usually consider fungus gnats when I see that. And the way the seedling looks makes me think that's the right theory. So I will take it out to show you. It should have a little root there, and it doesn't have it. But it was almost certainly there before, so something probably ate it. And when that happens, the seedling just loses the stability and falls over. So that now tells me there's probably fungus gnat larvae in that thing. Either that, or this has been something like a fungal infection. But most likely, this is a sign that fungus gnats have started chewing on the root. So I consider taking it out of the bag now. In this case, they are actually a little bit too small. The smaller the seedling, the more problems there might be. Slowly adapting them. if I take them out, there's no slow adapting, you know. If you take it out, if you make that decision to do that, it is just because you want the soil to dry out completely in order to really deal with fungus gnat. Fungus gnat larvae, they are like little slugs. They are tiny, transparent little things that you can see sometimes crawling on top of the soil. But it's very subtle. So I'm always, you know, and when you have like, sometimes there's little sand crystals in the soil, and they can also give you the impression it's fungus gnat. So you need to look very closely. In this case, I just try to make a decision if they're in there or not. But probably yes. It's like when you're like in the movie Aliens, you know, when they find some of these acid burns on the ground, like, you know, that's how I consider this seedling. It's definitely a sign that I should probably take them out, and I will do that. So yeah, these will go out now, out of the bag, after probably 2 months. A little bit earlier than I want to, but you just gotta go with the flow. You just, sometimes you have to be spontaneous, make a decision, and stick with it. So yeah, these will go out now, and it will not be easy to spray them the way they need it. They really look relatively small. They have grown. You can see some spines on them, but not really that comparable to the other seedlings. And it might also have to do with the fact that if fungus gnats can damage the root, maybe they grow slower because of that. Okay. In this one, I also feel like I want to take them out very soon. They are just a little too deep here. Too deep, potted too deeply in the pot. And that just brings in more shade. More shade than is healthy for them. And when I take them out, I kind of counteract that shade a little bit, you know, like the reason I don't like to have shade is because shade also brings the fungal infections with it. You know, they just thrive in that kind of a setting. The soil looks clean so far. There's a little bit of moss, but it's not bad. Seedlings look somewhat healthy. So I'm really looking at every single seedling, because one can be enough. One seedling that already has a damaged piece, you know, like a few bites, and then the others can follow. Then it can lead to an infection that contaminates everything. But for now, they look okay. These will definitely come out of the bag very soon. I'm still not 100% sure if I'm not doing it today. Seedlings look good. I really like how the seedlings look. Interesting kind of seedling. You can see that the body that these have, it's not the classic body that you see often. I can't tell you why. You know, you just have the seedling shapes a little bit saved up in the head. And this looks unusual compared to the stuff that I usually grow. So I really hope we can get these. We can see how these will turn out. And welcome everyone to my stream, guys. I appreciate it. Great to have you here. Always happy to take questions, general questions. I don't care. If not, I would just go through everything. Go through the containers. Later, I want to transplant that container that I dropped, and the water stuff. You know, filling up water. It's just necessary sometimes, unless you are perfect and get everything right the first time. And that can also happen, but very often it doesn't. Gotta have realistic expectations and all that stuff. So yeah, These look okay. I had corrected one or two that also didn't have a solid stand in the soil. Color-wise, I feel like they could use a little fertilizer, but they are also very small. They haven't grown much, but you can definitely see spines. So it's not really completely bad. I just wish they were a little bit bigger. It would make it easier for me to take them out. Right now, I'm not seeing it. Right now, I feel like they might not deal well when I take these out now. So I will close it up again now. But yeah, long term, I would love to take these containers here out. This one and this one. Okay. This is one where we only have one seedling. It's barely visible. It's here. Oh, here. And apart from that, none of the seeds have come up here. Let's have a look. Mamacita. Yeah, probably genetic. But I want to fill up water also. A little bit water. I believe this is one of the containers where I had to fill up humidity. And maybe we will get one or two more seedlings from the seeds in there. It would be a waste to only have one seedling in a container, in a square pot. I would really prefer not to have that. So let's transplant them. I want these in the soil again. I brought new soil here. Also classic sowing soil. And I would try to compress the soil very fast. Compress it to a point where it doesn't settle so much later on. I really want to have the soil in a somewhat firm, everything should feel firm when I press on it. I don't want to have that puffy feeling when I put my finger into the soil and it's like I'm, like you are touching flour, something like that, It should be very firm. I want the seedlings to have a solid ground. And now I want to water that because the soil will almost certainly settle some more now. It happened in the beginning. It happened very often that I transplanted seedlings, that I transplanted anything, and the soil wasn't right. Sometimes you put a plant in the soil that just doesn't look right in the way it is around the soil, around the root system. Sometimes you realize that the plant doesn't have a perfect connection to the soil, that kind of stuff. Like when you're repotting, you hope that it will eventually grow in that thing. But it's better to, when you notice something isn't perfect, it's shaky, a little bit unbalanced, then just put in a little bit extra work to get it to the point where it's not like that anymore. So yeah, so this is how I wanted it to look. I wanted the soil to be at a point where when I water it later, it will not sink in a lot more. It just makes things easier. Otherwise, you will constantly lose seedlings because they are so surrounded by soil that they don't get enough light anymore, that they are too close to the soil, and it attracts the fungal infection. So I will put these, probably spread them up over 2 containers. And also, this is an interesting cross. This is a Uwe Kahler hybrid cross. These will all be great. So it's definitely worth to invest the time that I'm doing now. But this will take a while. This is really a little bit of work here. I pierced the seedling. That's not good. Don't do that. Okay. There's so many seedlings in this one that I'm sure I will need 2 at least. I hope I can get them all into 2. But if not, I will also get a third one. This is just the type of space that you need to invest. You could already single them out more, but then I'm out of space instantly. So we're trying to go the middle ground here. Okay. Yeah, check it out. We're getting somewhere. Eventually, I will have something like 30 seedlings, 30, 40 seedlings in that pot, in one pot. Here's a broken one. Sometimes when I try to plant a group of seedlings, a few of them, I just dig a little hole with the pencil, so I can push in the whole root, the root stock. Usually when you have a few seedlings together, they have one big rootstock. In the beginning, it is hard to separate them, so I try to keep them together wherever I can. And yeah, I put a little hole into the soil so I can plant a few at once. Later, singling them out is also important, but for now, this will have to do. Space is an issue, and I'm working on it. Also indoors right now. I don't want to have too many, like the electricity cost shouldn't be too high. So I'm trying to grow seedlings in different ways, growing them at the window a little bit slower, then they are not growing so fast over winter, but maybe it works, you know. Just trying to improve the setup that I have here. Also for the channel, I brought in bigger seedlings, stuff from the greenhouses that I want to in the future keep indoors. Okay, let's water this just a little bit. But then once you have watered them, you need to transplant again. You need to change the positions of the seedlings again and again. Sometimes it just takes a while until it's perfect. You don't just want to put them into the soil, you know. It's not just the job to bury them. It's the job to put them in the soil in a way that they can continue to grow, that they can thrive. So sometimes you put something into the soil and you realize it's just not good. And that is the kind of stuff that you need to catch, because those seedlings will fail you will fail you first. Those seedlings you will lose first. Okay. Maybe I can put a few more here, one here and one here. But we'll see. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell how many more seedlings are in this pot here. I just dumped the whole soil, everything that I collected from the ground, and put it in there. overall in my life, if I think about it, I believe I dropped a good couple hundred containers. It just happens, you know. During the time when I had so many problems with Lyme disease, with the muscles, you know, I constantly dropped something. So this is just normal. At some point you get used to it, you know. Transplanting, everyday job. Let's see if I have a label here. I need to write another label. So this is Caesar crossed with Bamboy. Good that we did it, right? Good that we did it. These are both very solid parents. So this is KA 2024 38. Zizala crossed with Bamboy. Could be great. Could really be great. If you haven't seen Bamboy, look it up. It has a fantastic flower. Really good. Okay, so I need another one. Just not, there are just too many seedlings. And that's a good problem to have. And people often recommend not to, you know, people recommend to keep the soil a little looser, because that allows the root. It is easier for rooting, and that is true. But sometimes you need to, you know, compare two different things that are both important and decide what's more important. And in this case, I think that it's more important that the seedlings have stability, that the seedlings are, you know, that they are well connected to the soil. So I'm watering this now because it will almost certainly settle. And once you water this the first time, it lifts up. It's really something that you want to do before putting the seedlings in. Because otherwise the soil is mostly dry, so it will pool a little, and when it's pooling, it can wash stuff away, seedlings or seeds, whatever you are currently doing. So I always try to have the soil ready in a way that I can start planting. Pieces of wood, all kinds of stuff. I don't want to have the pieces of wood in the new pot. The pieces of wood that are in there are from this cemetery soil that we used to sow out in, and this one here is sowing soil now. Sowing soil is probably the better soil. I recommend using something like that for sowing out. It's just a very fast draining soil, but still rather organic for the seedlings. They still have time to take in the water, take in the nutrients and all that stuff, you know. If the soil is too fast draining, if the soil dries out too fast, then it's too fast for the seedlings to take in the water. It just takes a while. I'm not sure. I try to. There's constantly new seedlings showing up at the bottom, so I might actually have to take the whole soil out here. I just wanted to avoid making a mess, but I can't tell if there's anything below. There shouldn't be any below now. No, I think that's it. Yeah, I think we have them. Okay, this is it. split it up over 2 containers now. And that's good because it was a little bit too many anyways. Okay. So I want to try to just reposition the seedlings one after the other. They need a little bit space, solid stability, connection to the ground, and then they are great. Then they will do miracles later on. I believe in them, you know. Just give them a fair start, a good chance. And I see some of them might have lost the root. This one here, that can happen. That you sometimes, when I dropped the container, everything fell down. So it might have hurt one or two of them, few of them. So I will put it in the soil, despite the fact that it's not having a root system now. I want to give it a chance, but it's not a good sign. Very often when you can't see the root anymore, then it broke off or something ate it. And very often that means you will lose the seedling. We will try to avoid it, but sometimes there's nothing you can do. And welcome everyone to the stream. I appreciate you joining in. We're sowing out, we're growing cactus seeds, that kind of stuff. And right now I'm transplanting little cactus seedlings that I dropped. These have been sown out maybe 2.5 months ago. Everything on the stream. And now they need to be transplanted again into new soil. But the actual reason this is happening is just because I dropped them. Normally they would have been all right in that old soil for another month or so. But it happens, we all make mistakes. I drop seedlings on a regular basis. It's just something, it happens, it's part of life. We all make mistakes. So I try to position the seedlings in a way that gives them all a little space. Then I make sure that the root is firmly in the soil. And that is a little bit dangerous for the root. They are just so tiny, so sensitive that you can easily damage them. So be careful when you do that. Apart from that, there's not a lot you can do wrong here. Be careful not to pierce the seedlings, because also the moment they get an injury, it is usually too late for them. You will have a hard time saving them. There are these tiny little beings there, and everything can be too much for them. Too much sun, not enough water, too much heat. These are the classic things to avoid. Yeah, and here's a seedling. I think I need to take it out. It just looks like it doesn't stand a chance. I will give it one week, and if it looks terrible after 1 week, then we will take it out. These will stay out of humidity now. A lot of the cactus stuff that I've shown is still in bags, like in these little plastic bags, and they are just perfect because you don't have to water all the time. And little cactus seedlings need a lot of humidity. But now it's the time to slowly adjust them. I would have preferred if it hadn't happened, like in a new soil where you're forced to repot right away. But yeah, we don't pick that sometimes. It just happens. We just have to live with the stuff that happens. So yeah, I will try to spray them very often to make up for taking them out now. And also to make up for the stress that they experience during this process right now. I'm sure this will lead to a few seedlings here and there disappearing, expiring. But yeah, there's nothing you can do. Okay, so let's continue. I have these here. This is the chili that I've sown out, and I want to try to get rid of the seed, the rest of the seed. This already looks like there's a fungal infection. And I need to get that thing off, but it's probably too late already. I just say that because I think it's already too late, but I still want to try, you know? So I brought a scissor and I would try to find a way to get this thing off without... It happened. It worked. I got it off. Now look at this. It worked. I got it off. Last time I tried it, I broke off the tip, like the leaves and all. It was done. That seedling last time, it was done, but not this time. We have success. It might still have some sort of a damage, you know, like from having that moldy thing around it all the time. But it has a chance now. If I had left that seed thing up, it would not have had a chance. It would have continued to rot, and at some point, the rot consumes the leaf, and then you're done. So yeah, I will put this thing back into the bag. There's another one, but it's already crooked. Look at this. Also, this is basically what would have happened with the other one if we wouldn't have gotten it off. Due to the fact that this is already collapsed, basically, like that, it's already lost its integrity. There's no chance. This thing will go right into the trash, unfortunately. But we could save one, and this was Chili Charapita, I think, something like that. And I will move that under the plant lamp again. I'm really happy that I could save this one. It didn't look like it. Okay, so let's continue with the seedlings. These are looking good. 2.5 months old, probably. And when you touch them, you can feel the spines. They have very fine spines. It's almost like hair. At this point, I try not to, to touch them, but we're stressing them a little here. It doesn't matter. They will have to take that. And apart from that, they look great. Too many in one pot. Singling out I see singling out in the near future of these seedlings. Soil is dry, very dry, probably a little too dry. So let's put in a little bit of water, because at some point when you have so many seedlings in there, you will have single seedlings that start to dehydrate, like in between. You will have some that turn reddish, and you can already see it here. It's not that it's not there. Here, this one has a little tone of reddish. I'm not sure if you can see it in this kind of camera mode, but some of them look a little stressed. And that is despite the fact that they actually have enough humidity in the bag. But the more seedlings you have, at some point it's not enough anymore. So this should be all right. These will run out of space eventually. So should be transplanted, split up eventually. For now, I would try to push it into the future. Just not think about that anymore. Bad thoughts be gone, That would be a problem for future me. I would not deal with it. This here also looks great. Great, healthy looking cactus seedlings. 2.5 months old from the beginning, from the earlier phases where we've sown out. Uwe Kahle seedlings from a hybrid cross in 2023. And the mother is a hybrid between Gräsers Erfolg Selbstbestäubung and Cantora. And the father is Bamboy. So mother, Aporocanticans hybrid. That means a hybrid between Aporo cactus and Sörensia candicans. and with ruffled flowers, combined with Cantora to increase the flower size, to kind of make it a little bit better, improve the flowering. Because some of those old Gräser hybrids, they take a while until they start flowering. They are famous for that. I still remember a lot of cactus breeders when they talk about the old school Gräser hybrids and why they don't want to have them. Because they cover like a square meter in the greenhouse per plant. They get really big and wide. So you have to invest a lot of space. And in this case, since this has Cantora crossed in, it stays a little smaller. It doesn't have to get so big to flower. So that is a good combination. And the father, Bamboy, amazing hybrid. One of the best hybrids of the last 20 years. Okay. Yeah, and in this case, I mean, there's a possibility that this is self-fertile, that the result of a self-fertility kind of thing, where the fruit pollinated itself, where the flower pollinated itself, that happens sporadically with the Gräser hybrids. That could be, but just the chance to have a hybrid with ruffles and Bamboy, like combining that, it's definitely worth to try it out, to grow it out. Yeah, these look good. A little bit too deep. It would be a little easier if I had put in a little bit more soil into the pot. Then they would get more light now. Would be easier they would get a little bit more fresh air all around. But yeah, it's just a thing. A lot of people, when you fill up the pot, a lot of people try to conserve soil. And yeah, it's a good instinct, to not want to be wasteful, to put in only as much soil as you really need. But sometimes it can really come back to haunt you. Sometimes the more soil you have in there, the better. The more time you have, the more space the roots have. So I recommend trying to overcome the urge to be to save, to conserve a little soil, and just fill up the whole thing. Okay. Yeah, these look interesting. Color-wise, this is very yellow. Yellowish. This is almost variegated yellowish, I look at them and I don't think that the color is due to nutrient situation. It could be because these haven't been fertilized since I've sown them out 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. But this looks like variegation, different kind of shades of green. I'm not sure if you can see it that well in the video, but this is a pretty big range of skin tones here. For now, they all look great. All the seedlings in this container look great. Some of them are too small to take them out, so I would just leave them in a little longer. But everything grows. This is also Uwe Kahle hybrid. So I want to show you this again. I transplanted these earlier, and now I want to make sure that they are clean. I've been looking at them, side-eyeing them, and seeing that they are full of dirt still. And that kind of stuff is really what I try to avoid. I really want them to be clean so they don't have any fungal infections. You don't have to make it so easy for the fungus to find the entry. So I want to keep the seedlings clean. I want to give them full light. And the more soil is covering them, the less light they get. So yeah, now it's a little bit better. Instantly looks different. When you're transplanting, when you're repotting, soil will stick everywhere sometimes. So you just have to spray them afterwards. but it's really important. These look good. I haven't taken them out quite like long ago. This was just recently, and for now they look great. There are too many seedlings in the pot. So at some point I will have to split them up between 2 containers. This is Cisala crossed with pink stripes. Cisala, pink stripes, and a hybrid called Abla. I'm not sure what it is, but since it's a Uwe Kahler hybrid, I will just give it a chance. Yeah, apart from that, this is okay. Has been fertilized just recently. All of the containers that are out of the bag have been fertilized now. And just a little bit. And I made sure to only fertilize on the inside of the pot. I didn't want to have a huge mess inside. So I fertilized very carefully with a water sprayer. Yeah, these are a little bit dehydrated here. Not a lot, but you can already see it if you look closely. Soil is very dry. It's just hard to spray them as often as you need to. I've been spraying them all of the time during the day, and every time I check, the soil is completely dry. I'm always impressed by that, you know, how fast this soil dries out. And the soil that is in most of the pots is cemetery soil. It wasn't really something that I've ever sown out in before, but I wanted to try it out because I've heard about it. Like, I've read an old post in a forum, post by Vladi Yasan, who is the breeder of Sunny, and I've heard him talk about sowing out in cemetery soil and mixed with coconut fiber. And I found that interesting. And since then, I wanted to try it out. And for now, I can say it's a good soil. If we hadn't had the fungus gnat problems, it would have been great. So these here, I saw that the seedlings look abnormal. Really abnormal. Check it out. This seedling here looks very unusual. Growing into 2 directions at the same time, crested probably, and some of the other seedlings look similar. So let me see what it is. What kind of a cross has produced this? This is Vers 11. Vers 11 multi-hybrid, columnar parent involved, and paired with a Lobivia. So really interesting kind of hybrid. Okay. Yeah, these look good. I like what I see. 1 or 2 of the seedlings don't have a good position, like they are lying. Could be because the other seedlings have pressed against them. But I'm always a little bit anxious when I see that. So I'm just trying to correct that. But it's probably just seedling being pushed away by the other seedlings. So I will try to get the label out here. Sometimes I get it out with a scissor, like a tweezer. Okay, this is a columnar hybrid crossed with a flower hybrid as father. Looks okay. Looks interesting. Different kind of seedlings. You know, you see the normal growth. You see tiny seedlings that are delayed. Weird, you know. So I often see that as an early indicator for for interesting mutations. Okay, I will close it up again because some of the seedlings are just too small to take them out. Okay, so let me have a look at this here. These were takeaway containers where we've sown out. In the past, on the stream, on the channel, sowing out was done in these. And now in the last couple of weeks, I started experimenting with these here. I know them very well. I've sown out into this type of stuff before, but not on the stream. So I wanted to show them, wanted to compare that stuff, get to with the ones in the square pots. And for now, I constantly had to open them up to adjust the humidity. In my opinion, it was a lot easier to set the humidity in the square pots and the plastic bag. So let me see. I opened this one up. Humidity doesn't look bad. This is okay, but a little bit additional water. But it isn't bad. This could already be enough to induce germinations. I'm just very careful right now because I have seen how often the humidity just disappeared with like through the lid. I'm not sure where it gets out, but they lose a little bit of humidity. And compared to this, I mean, this is also, the bags tend to start to, you know, wear down. You can really feel the wear then on the ziplock, on the lock mechanism that they have. But apart from that, it worked better to keep the humidity in. Okay, so here, this one I wanted to show you because I noticed that the seedling was coming up and it felt like it was already pressing against the lid. So in this one, soil level too high. If you use them, make sure to leave space for the seedlings towards the top, because you cannot take off the lid very early. In the first 3 months, it's easier to keep the lid closed. And if you only have like a tiny little space for the seedling to grow, then it will press against the window very fast and press against the lid very fast. And that will just make it harder for you. So I will fill up a little bit more water here. But this wasn't well done. I will criticize myself for it later. Okay, in most of the others, the soil level is better, but also not good. This one is crooked. Look at it. What a mess. What a poor job. But yeah, since I'm doing it all myself, can't really blame me. Okay, so I filled up a little bit of water here. There's still enough space for the seedlings. Also, it's crooked, but it doesn't matter. You know, it's as long as there's enough space towards the lid, this will be fine. But when I look at this here, you know, this is the one that I've just shown you. You can, like, the seedling is very close to the lid. It feels like the seedling is already trying to crouch. And they usually don't do that. I'm not sure if that is even possible, but it looks like that. So here, this one has the first seedlings coming up in center, and they don't look great. They don't really look healthy. I feel like the soil is too dry. I could already see it on the lid. Sometimes when you take a close look at the lid, you can see humidity collecting on one side and not on the other. And that is usually a sign that the humidity wasn't right. Gotta try to keep in like a evenly distributed humidity everywhere, because you might have seeds lying everywhere, and if the seed is on the other side where the humidity, where the water doesn't drop down again, then it won't come up. Now I want to have a closer look at the seedlings. They just look a little bit weak, and I want to see why. They are very young. That it could just be that they need a little longer until they start growing healthily. So I just changed the position of one or two. Apart from that, I will just give them time now. The soil now has a lot more water than earlier, and that could already be what's needed. I will move these back to the heater, but the one with the seedlings, I can't leave it at the heater for much longer, like maybe a few more days. I sometimes try to, the moment I see seedlings, I try to take them away from the heat source. Because the moment you have seedlings, they can overheat. That is the reason. So at some point you will have to say, okay, it's enough. I know that not all of the seeds have come up, but at some point it becomes just unhealthy for the seedlings that you already have. And yeah, so you have to make a decision. Do you want to keep it at the heater a little longer and risk losing those seedlings that you already have just for maybe getting a few more that come up later during the extra heat that they get? Okay, so here's something that this one was also dropped, and it was disastrous. Check it out. You can see that there are a bunch of seedlings that are all right. I'm not sure if there are some that are buried, but what I would do now is I would try to push the soil back into the pot carefully. I don't want to do too much because the seedlings are so small. You can't really transplant them safely. You can transplant them, and it can work sometimes, but it also doesn't work often. So for now, I will try to just get the soil back into the soil, into the square pot, and then I would spray everything, just a little water over them. And now it gets a little easier to kind of shape the landscape in there that I want to have. When I dropped this, a lot of the soil came out. And the soil has started to, to become puffy. And that is something that I really do not like when I have seedlings, because the seedlings need a certain soil stability. And the looser the soil, the more difficult it gets. So I'm just carefully repositioning the seedlings. And here's one, a tiny one that doesn't look like it has a chance to survive. Sometimes you have seeds that come up that are just not, that don't make it, that just don't have enough energy to survive long term. They just have enough energy to induce the germination, and then they run out of steam. Okay, yeah, I take that one out. Very tiny seedling. This would not grow anywhere. Apart from that, we can now close this thing up again. The seedlings look okay now. These were just very young, really just germinated seedlings. And in that phase, it is really bad to disturb them. And in this case, it only happened because I accidentally dropped like 3 or 4 containers, 3 or 4 bags at once while I was trying to move them. I will leave these in there now for a little longer. This goes under the lamp. If we can get a few of them to adulthood, that would be great. Okay, so now in this one, I'm also controlling the humidity, checking for if I have the right the right water, air humidity, like humidity level for inducing germination. It looks a little too dry. Slightly too dry. And there's one seed here in center that has actually germinated already. So this is good viable seeds. They just need a little bit more water, and then I can move this back to the heater. Okay. This is one where we did a second germination cycle, and nothing has come up yet. Soil looks rather dry, so I'm filling up again, but at this point I seriously consider that this is a waste of time. Teleflora seeds, so I believe it's definitely possible that these are not viable. With Teleflora, it's hit and miss sometimes. But most of the hybrid crosses with Teleflora that I made recently were viable. They were viable and they were good stuff. Yeah, nothing. Trash. Also, one of the containers where I tried to start a second cycle, but nothing came up. Let me have a look at the label. Flying Dragon Cantora. Yeah. I mean, Flying Dragon Cantora, I noticed that a lot of the fruits look unhealthy, sometimes very few seeds. There are always ones that are viable, that look great, but it's just not something you can rely on, you know? Some of the Flying Dragon hybrid crosses had very poor health. Okay, but it's not all. I have some that look amazing. I brought more where I want to change, like check for the humidity. Oh, this looks interesting. Check it out. A lot of seedlings here. This is just young. Just germinated recently, last few days. And this was at the heater, induced germination, and everything came up. So this is great. Let's see what it is. What? Oh, this is Imperialis. Hybrid between Sorensia telegona and Echinopsis irisi grandiflora, most likely. And there are a few different ones by different breeders that all kind of made very similar crosses. So there are a few different clones around. And this is from one with huge flowers. This is the best one that I personally have. So it really makes sense to grow them. And I really hope that I can get these to flowering. So I will spray them now. Soil was a little dry, but since you could already see so many, it was a sign that this is very healthy, viable. This is great. I'm very happy about this. Okay, and this will go under the plant lamp. This will not go to the heater because if you look into it, into this thing, and you see a fair amount of seedlings, then That is enough. The moment you take it away from the heater, the germinations might stop coming, you know. And if you have only 1 or 2 seedlings, it might be worth it to wait a little longer, keep it at the heater a little longer, to see if maybe some more will come up. Yeah, nothing. Totally nothing. Total waste of time. Loxanthinopsis, Loxanthocereus, intergeneric hybrid. Could be good, could be totally bad. So I will fill up the water. Maybe the humidity wasn't right. Maybe we're just not at the right time yet, you know. Hey, I'm very happy for you. Great to have you. I'm happy that you have a good time. So yeah, let's continue. I have a few more and I want to move them to the heater again. This kind of work has priority because it is you only have a limited window of time in the beginning to induce the germination. When that fails, it is unlikely that the seeds will come up. So I try to, within the first couple weeks, I really try to correct often if I have to. Also here, no seedlings. They are not really old, so it's not, some of them might actually still be within the time frame to come up. But I already want to correct the humidity. I really want to get that right, because the moment I have them at the heater, you need to have the humidity. If you don't have it, you might lose the seeds, you know. The seeds might not come up, and the next time they might have lost the viability. So always important to get it right the first time. Okay, these are old seeds. So I'm putting in a little extra water. I've seen people use gibberellic acid to induce germination. It's kind of plant hormone to wake them up. Can also work. I've tried it, but I couldn't tell you if it made a difference. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that can happen a lot. I mean, I usually try to clean it well. Every time I'm sowing out, I'm instantly cleaning up, because the more you have in there, the more it can just fuel fungal infections, you know. And it's just normal. Once that gets wet again, all that sugar, you know, you have it in there. It can just be a great environment for fungal infection. Yeah, happened to me very often too. I only do it now because I failed cleaning them properly in the beginning, you know. So this is Echinopsis glauca. This one didn't come up, and I think I have shown some that did come up. Some others from the same cross. So it's not a total loss. But I would have hoped, I would have loved to have more seedlings from this particular plant here. Echinopsis glauca, still a relatively unknown species, and people have a hard time keeping it separate from Peruvianus, Echinopsis peruviana. They really have a hard time distinguishing. Yeah, but Echinopsis glauca later looks very different. Like when it gets bigger, it grows more like Echinopsis chalensis, like this kind of snake-like growth. Yeah, okay. That's great. I mean, yeah, in nature, they also come up like that. You know, in nature, there's nobody that can clean the fruit up. If the fruit falls onto the ground, then some seeds come up. Some seeds just find a great environment, while others don't, you know. Okay, so this one here is a total failure. I'm very disappointed. the humidity is completely wrong. Look how dry it is. It shouldn't be so dry. That's not how you can sow out successfully. So I need to put in a lot of water here. I'm ashamed of myself. So let's fill this up. And it will take a while until this whole thing, until the soil is kind of loose again. It might never happen. Sometimes when soil completely dries out, it becomes unusable for soil. I hope that's not the case here. I mean, we're sowing out in fairly loose soil, but yeah, shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have dried out like that. So now, I hope that this is enough water. If not, I might have to open this again. Once it dries out like this, you might have to refill water repeatedly. Okay, so these all go to the heater. And if the ones in the bag, the ones where we are already doing a second germination cycle, if none of those come up after the next couple of weeks, we are done with them. I'm willing to do one germination cycle, and a lot of it was done for the channel to show how you're doing it. But it's also a waste of space, you know, because the containers here where we're now doing a second germination cycle, they already didn't come up the first time. They already failed once. Some of them might still come up, and that's why we're doing it. All of the seeds are interesting. All of the seeds deserve to be given a second chance. But there's a limit, you know, and we're giving this 2 more weeks. If nothing has come up by then these will go out and make space for new ones, for containers that were full of seedlings, you know. Space is limited, and I don't want to waste it with crosses that have already proven that they are genetically unhealthy. So this one here, it's not completely dry. Humidity might be enough to induce germination, but I'm still not letting it like that. I can read the label. Label says Mamacita, so genetically troubled, probably some sort of a multi-hybrid, and that can mean when you use it in hybrid crosses, it might not work out, or the offspring might be unhealthy. But it doesn't have to be like that. Sometimes all it takes is finding the right partner. It's like it is in life, you know? Sometimes you just need that one other broken thing to complete it again. And yeah, but in this case, it didn't look like that. Also here, this one was Bamboy seedlings, and also I'm not sure why, but I had one container where that was full of seedlings and one where none of them came up. Oh yeah, and did they continue to grow on the compost, or like, you know, at some point you will probably have to pot them up, right? Or do you live in a country where you can just keep them out? I would love to plant out cereals in the garden. You know, they're nice plants and all, nice fruit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I would love to do that. In the beginning, I've grown a fair amount of cereals. It's a nice, also as grafting stock. They are good grafting stocks. I like them. That's great. Nice. You see, like growing from seeds, it doesn't have to be so difficult. Sometimes it's so easy. Okay, I have 3 more, and then I will focus on the containers again that we have grown. I'm not sure how long I will do today, but a little bit longer. Maybe I can do a little bit more than usually if the battery power makes it. Yeah, they are very hardy. I used to graft a lot on Cerois. They are perfect grafting stock. They are very accepting, and yeah, I really like them. I wish I had more space, you know, to grow certain different types of grafting stock. Right now, I rarely graft, and when I graft, I usually graft on everything that that disappointed, like in regards to the flower. What if something flowered for the first time and I didn't like the flower, then I use that as a grafting stock. Okay, so I brought a few seedlings that I wanted to work on. So let me get started here. So this is from the greenhouse, and this was attacked by slugs. It was basically just a grafted tip, and everything was well until the slugs came and ate a hole into it over winter. And since that happened during the really cold and dangerous phase, I had to bring it inside, and I just wanted to discuss that. This discoloration here, check it out. This orange discoloration, that was basically the beginning of a fungal infection, but I think I caught it early. I saw this in the greenhouse just maybe a month ago, 3 weeks ago, and I brought it in because I knew if I leave that in the greenhouse, it will become infected. You could already see the beginning, and yeah, that was the sign for me to take it out. Now I have it indoors, not too hot, but also not too cold, not too humid. A really normal environment without extreme temperatures. And there now, give it time. I want this to heal over to a little bit. If I would have it outside now in the sun, you know, to callus. If I would have that in full sun, if that happens in summer, it's not a problem. But since this happened in winter, it instantly becomes dangerous. It instantly becomes a potential total loss. So yeah, this will stay in now. I will have to water it. I will have to spray it. But apart from that, I think I can save it by just making sure it's in the right climate. And I already cleaned it up a little bit recently when I brought it in. So there were some parts that I had to take off. You know, if you can see beginning of infection, it's usually a good time to bring it in. Then I brought these here that I wanted to clean up. So I saw that here's a seedling that didn't make it, and I wanted to take that all off. So these will also stay inside now, but I can only keep them inside if everything is clean, if there are no pests. So I'm now trying to clean this up a little. The two seedlings that are all right, I might be able to save them. Okay, let me see. The root system of this one here doesn't look good. Had already some sort of it's either cold, you know, when the roots are, when the soil is too wet in winter, then they can take damage at the root system. This seedling here looks all right. This one will make it. What is this? Oh, this is a Chilean kind of species. Interesting kind of plant. I'm not sure what species it is because it was, the seed label wasn't able to tell, and that's usually a good sign. But this seedling here, I need to remove the root. I just looked closer at the root. Check it out. Do you see the brownish thing at the base? That is probably mealybug. Mealybug, they often cause damage at the root system and constantly cause micro injuries. And then in winter, it turns like that. So I need to take that off. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I know that I need to take it off. So I brought me a little fruit knife, and I just want to take off the root system. Check it out. Was the right decision. So the root system comes out. I don't think we can save it. But now, since we keep this in, I will keep this indoors. And now if I clean the root, if I really clean up the root, this will have a chance. This will have a chance to heal. There's enough substance for the seedling to make it. I cut up a little piece. You always try to carefully find the right spot that you need to take off to remove the whole infection. And now it happened. Now it's clean. Okay. And the piece of seedling that I have here, the size, this is enough. This is enough. This has a chance to heal and grow. So what I will do now is I would put it into the pot like this, like upside down. I want to put this under a plant lamp upside down. I want this whole wound that I now created to callus, and it needs light. Needs a lot of good light now. So this will go under a plant lamp. And also, you need to be careful because this can't go with other plants that you have indoors when you bring it from out the greenhouse. It's just too risky to bring in any kind of pest, too much of a risk to bring in pest. Okay. Here. It's another one that I found in the greenhouse. Also, so this one had root rot and the other one also. And I want to take this off too. Let me just clean the knife here. Okay. There's a discoloration still from the infection. The infection slowly travels through that. So I'm taking off a little bit more, but this is it, not more. Wound is clean. That is what I look for. And in this case, it will go on top of pumice. Here's the other one. Let's have a look at this one. See the discoloration. It is kind of hard to tell if this is already healed or not, but it's probably not healed. Took it out. I could really strip out the infection just like this. So now I will try to give this some time to heal under a plant lamp. I just saw that this seedling has more problems on the other side. So let's have a look what this is. Discoloration, orange discoloration, doesn't look good. This could already be infection in center of the seedling. So I need to remove that too. Okay, so now our seedlings has become a lot smaller. This will be dangerous. Once you have multiple little injuries, you really need to put it close to the lamp to heal fast, because this can easily get infected. Okay, these go under the plant lamp, under a separate plant lamp, like a small one, just to callus the fresh cuts a little bit faster. Okay, this goes into the trash. Okay, let's continue. I have a few more seedlings here, and I will continue until my battery gives in. At some point within the next 10-15 minutes, I will probably get some sort of a message that the battery is empty. So, some of them, like the damage that I've just shown you, is probably caused by mealybug. Mealybug, I find them a terrible pest, and I usually try to get rid of them but it's very hard when you have a whole collection that you would have to constantly spray it, and it's really hard to get rid of them completely. Every time I see them, I treat them now really pretty harshly, aggressively. In the next season, I want to spray the plants with different kind of pesticides just to deal with the mealybug problem. And I'm very careful about bringing that into the house, you know. So everything that I bring in needs to be sprayed. Probably we will see. Yeah, these look a little bit too small. There are 1 or 2 seedlings here that I do not like how they look. The soil has dried out completely. Check it out. This was dry, and that is exactly what they warn you about when soil is drying out completely. This has compacted into a brick, into a brick of the shape of the square pot. So I try to get the soil loose again here, just pushing everything a little bit down again. I would love to transplant the seedlings in here, but they are very small. So check it out. I sprayed a few of them just with water, compressed the soil, and I just hope that they will grow fast enough that I can take them out here, that I can transplant them safely into another soil. These are arboricola seedlings, so long term it will probably be hard to stop them. Arboricola is pretty hard to destroy. It's a very aggressively growing species, so I'm sure that some of them will make it. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Great to have you. And also, thank you everyone else, you know, for joining. I appreciate it. A lot of stuff today, and I will probably not get it all done. So in this one, seedlings look okayish. I just corrected the position of one, compressing the soil a little with a pencil, just trying to make sure that the seedlings have a firm and solid stand, solid connection to the soil. Apart from that, they look good. They continue to grow here. It's not bad. I can leave them like this. I'm really happy that I was able to save that one chili seedling. I was really, you know, because I didn't want to fail like that. Totally. A little bit of failure is okay. Like, you know, when I'm doing something, sowing out, you always, when you're sowing out something new, you always have those experiences where you live and learn and you lose stuff and it makes you better. But it doesn't have to be total failure to be like that, you know. A few of the seedlings, I hope we can get those to a size where we don't lose them anymore. I really want to grow a bunch of other plants too here. So this one also container that is very young. I just see one seedling in it. But it looks like other seeds are germinating slowly too. So this needs to go to the heater again. I'm not sure why I moved it here, why I had it with the other seedlings, but this needs to be at the heater. When I only see one seedling, that is just not enough. You know, I want to see a few seedlings per cross. It should be worth the space that the pot will block. These look good, healthy. You can instantly see that color-wise, this looks okay. Healthy green. Uwe Kahler hybrid with Bamboy. So there's a lot of potential. And if nothing, you know, if I don't have to do anything, that's okay. I don't have to make like unnecessary work. But it's getting to the point where the mechanism here, the closing mechanism, is failing everywhere. I have opened and closed them hundreds of times on the stream already. So these here look good. They're a little too deep down in the valley. Apart from that, some of them have discolorations from the lamp. Not sure if you can pick up on it in the video, but they have a little reddish glow. And yeah, I mean, sometimes they react to the lamp. Sometimes they are a little stressed, but a little stress is not, it's not bad always. So I water them a little bit because the soil was really dry. These are out of the bag. So they have been fertilized also, like just a couple of days ago. And they will get another dose of fertilizer maybe in 7 to 10 days. This is washed pumice, and there's only 2 seedlings here. But the 2 seedlings that made it look okay, like they will make it. But due to the dry soil, due to the fact that the washed pumice is so dry, I'm constantly spraying those. And it's just, it dries up, and within 5 minutes, it's completely dry again. And that is something that some seedlings cannot take. These here seem to take it well. Yeah, these look good. Okay. Discoloration, a little bit of dehydration also, especially in the smaller seedlings. Here's a seedling that I want to correct. That looked like it, you know, was leaning over. Up here, there's seedlings that are leaning over that I need to correct. Spray the water a little bit, like spray the soil a little bit, because everything's so dry again. I'm constantly spraying, constantly trying to compensate for the water that they lose. But it's just, if you have them under a grow lamp, that will eventually, you know, it's like they're getting sunlight. So you will have to water very often, sometimes more than once during the day. And I really hate it. I hate it. I constantly, when I'm going into the kitchen, I'm starting to spray. Feels like a job. So yeah, this here looks good. These are really nice. Soil is very dry. You can see that with this drought, you can't really, the fungus gnats can't really propagate. They can't really have a great time. They can't really lay their larvae, and the larvae are the big problem for cactus seedlings. So with the dry soil like this is good. But I want to make sure it's not getting too much. So these are also getting daily watering, spraying them daily. It's just that the water dries out so fast. Okay, let's take these here. This is looking interesting. Some of them are monstrous, crested, something like that. This is a multi-hybrid cross between something with flying saucer and a columnar father. So in this case, I believe the columnar father kind of brought out the weird genetics here. But you can't really tell for sure. Sometimes a plant has very freaky genetics and it doesn't show. You won't see it from the outside. It will look like a normal plant, but every time you use it, it will create interesting offspring. This is washed pumice, one of the containers in washed pumice that's really going all right. But these need nutrients now. I don't have the fertilizer here, but I really need to start fertilizing the ones that are in the washed pumice. The ones that are in normal soil, that soil is already fertilized. But when you use washed pumice or some other mineral out of the bag, it will be pretty inert, pretty devoid of any nutrients. So in this case, I need to fill it up. These also look good. I really like that. Interesting seedlings from a Uwe Kahle hybrid cross from 2024. And I can see a weird freaky seedling in the middle of them. I'm not sure if you can see it, but one of them is one of these two headers, double header, dichotomous, kind of gross. Okay. Apart from that, they are all right in this bag. Oh, come on, please. Okay. The more often you open them, the more messed up the closing mechanism is. Okay, so these look really interesting. At some point, they will jump out of the pot. This is really too many. Thank you. May I have a little less? It would have been all right to only sell out half the seedlings that I have in this pot. But yeah, I don't know. When I'm sowing out, sometimes I'm an optimist sometimes. I just wanna, you feel like the more the better, the more the merrier, you know? But I need to take these out. I need to transplant some of them. They need to be in a bigger pot, like split up. This could be, you could put these into 4 different containers and it would be all right. Very dry, a little bit dehydrated. When the soil gets like this, you know, that you can see real like large holes that go down to the pot, to the bottom of the pot. That's not good. It's a bad sign that the soil just has dried up, that the soil has bricked. So I'm trying to get it a little bit more humid again, a little bit more soil moisture, and then I try to, when I push it with the pencil, it feels really like a brick. This is bad. Just trying to get everything loose again to a point where it behaves normally. Okay, I will have to keep a close eye on this. And now the seedlings are a little bit closer, like further down in the pot. I don't like that. So at some point these will be transplanted. They are just the size where we could do it, but they might need a little longer. Maybe another 2 weeks, then we can think about that. Yeah. So, yeah, this one here. Very young seedlings. This is Teleflora. Some of them look like they haven't grown at all. So I'm taking out a seedling here that I think doesn't have a chance. Very often with Teleflora, you have these tiny seedlings that are just going nowhere. Actually, the majority of seedlings in this container look like that. if I can get 1 or 2 to a large size, then I'm happy. And they are too small to take them out, so there's no, you know, with the others you sometimes have to ask yourself what you want to do. With these, there's not really, like, taking them out is not really an option. Okay, so these here, they look all right. So these had moss growing everywhere in between, and that has dried up. Since I took these out of the pot, the moss has dried up, and that is great. Like, I generally try to avoid moss. It's not a bad thing. It's just I don't like how it changes the soil. So I usually try to stay away from it. There are a lot of cases where I'm sowing out, and some sort of a moss just comes up. You know, every species is different. Every species is a little different. But I really try to avoid that kind of stuff. I want to have one consistency in the like the soil needs to be consistently the same. And when you have little patches with moss, that kind of makes it harder to water them reliably. You know, you will always have those little hot pockets that are a little bit more humid than the rest, and I really try to avoid that. So I want to clean up a little bit here. Let's take this out, this moss thing, because it has surrounded the seedlings. So it might be a good situation to just take it out and show what has happened below. So I just want to take this out. And it's not easy. So this is just dried moss. And I'm taking that out now. Because also it takes away visibility, you know, it takes away the visibility to the seedlings. And now that I take out the moss, I find seedlings that had already some sort of a discoloration because they've been wet all the time, because they've been covered all the time. Okay. Yeah, apart from that, the seedlings look good. The ones that I just had, the ones that I just uncovered, unearthed, they might actually become like infected, but for now it's okay. I will give them a chance, but they don't look good. Everywhere where the moss was surrounding the seedling, the seedlings had discolorations just from humidity. You know, it's not even that they do something bad. It's just it keeps the humidity pressed on the seedling, pressed on the skin. Not great. Okay, and this is the last one. I need to stop because my smartphone is empty. But these are the last, and these are dehydrated a little bit. Not bad, but they need more water. Need to spray more often. Apart from that, they will probably make it. They are already through the most dangerous phase where you can lose them. I just have to spray them all the time. And while I did that, like the 1.5 hours that I did that, some of the soil has already dried up again. So I'm spraying it again a little bit. And maybe in 3-4 hours, I need to do it again. Okay, so this was my stream. I apologize for having to end it, but the battery is empty. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great time. Hope you have a great day. Thank God it's the weekend. So I hope you enjoy it, and I will be back tomorrow morning. Okay? Thank you, guys. I loved it, and I will be back tomorrow. Thank you. I appreciate it. I spray manually. Every day, I spray them all the time. Okay, thank you, guys. Bye.